Hello, everyone. This is Fermenting Pickles with me, Isaiah Torres. Sit back and relax, and hope you can learn a thing or two about fermenting pickles. So, this is just some background and history of pickles. Um, Pickles got their start more than 4,000 years ago when ancient Mesopotamians began soaking cucumbers in acidic brine as a way to preserve them. Um, we know we have some history about pickles in America when a heavy influx of Eastern European Jews arrived in New York City during the late 1800s and early 1900s. Immigrants introduced kosher dill pickles to America. Cucumbers were washed, then piled in large wooden barrels, along with dill, garlic, spices, kosher salt, and clean water. So they were fermenting before it was cool, I guess. Um, um, Lactic acid bacteria in pickles help to enhance human nutrition by providing vitamins, minerals, and carbohydrates, and produce various aroma components, bactericins, and expopolysaccharides. Um, so this is just the method that I use in the materials. So I used a mason jar, a Ziploc bag, a measuring cup, a fork and spoon, and a bowl. Now I'll get to why I used a Ziploc bag later because I thought it was really ingenious and I was like, it blew my mind. Like, oh yeah, we should do that. This is my method again. The recipe that I used small pickled cucumbers that you can get from like Whole Foods or um, like your farmer's market. I found out later that my grandma grows them naturally, like in her backyard, which is like pretty cool. So I used 3 cloves of garlic, 1 box of baby dill weed, saltwater brine, 1.5 teaspoons of pepper flakes, bay leaves, distilled water, and ice made from frozen distilled water. Uh, so this is just the biochemical process and reactions involved in my recipe and in the fermentation. So we know that cucumber is rich in glucose. Um, the tannins in the bay leaves that I included in my jar, um, it prevents the cell walls from breaking down, leaving a crunchy pickle. We know that saltwater brine kills bacteria. And finally, these are the bacteria involved in fermentation. So don't crucify me if I mess up these names, just because I try my best. Lactobacillus brevis, uh, leuconostic mesenteroides. Um, I tried to look these up again, the pronunciation, so if I butcher them, bear with me. Lactococcus lactis, Lactobacillus plantarum, and Pediococcus pentosaceus. So let me move this. I'll move over here real quick. Um, so we know that there's homolactic bacteria and heterolactic bacteria. Um, we know that the Lactobacillus plantarum and Pediococcus pentosaceus is homolactic bacteria, and we know the heterolactic bacteria is leuconostic mesenteroids, Lactobacillus brevis, and Lactococcus lactis. We know that it undergoes the homolactic bacteria undergoes homolactic fermentation. Um, so we got the glucose up here. Pyruvate is then reduced to lactate or lactic acid by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. Uh, and in the heterolactic bacteria, in this reaction, glucose is first metabolized to pyruvate and then acetic acid and CO2 by pentose phosphate pathway. So we see that right here. And we know that the end result is lactate and ethanol. And in the homolactic, we know the end result is lactate or lactic acid. So these are just some pictures. I'm gonna move back over here. These are just some pictures of my process. Um, That's me at church with my jar of pickles, or me on my way to church with my jar of pickles. Took a quick picture in the morning. Um, it became weird. I became weirdly obsessed over these pickles. I don't know why. I was just like really anxious to see the outcome. My mom told me to bathe these cucumbers in ice water, and I didn't want to get any. I didn't want to cross contaminate or anything, so I just used distilled water all the way around. Um, so I left them in there for about like 2 hours. Um, that's me packing in everything. I packed it in pretty tight just because I was like really anxious that um, I was gonna get mold growth. So I packed it really tight so everything could stay submerged in the saltwater brine. And that's just all of the materials I used again. So I mentioned earlier the Ziploc bag. I used the Ziploc bag and I filled it with some water to keep everything submerged in the brine. So what I ended up doing was filling the Ziploc bag um, with a little bit of water, and then I put it on top of everything, and then I closed up the mason jar, and then I waited 4 days to eat everything. So that's day one. That's day two. That's day three. I didn't get a picture on day four. Um, kind of bummed out about that, but that's just kind of the process. In day three, don't let the picture fool you. It was actually really, it was more yellow and it had bubbles at the top, so that was a good sign. My conclusion and reflection overall was very straightforward and easy. Um, I was anxious. I was doing it wrong. Uh, Not gonna lie. I was hoping, that I was praying that there was no mold growth, and in the end, there wasn't. Actually, tasted really great. I expected for it to taste bad, to be honest, but it tasted really great. And in the future, I want to try to make kimchi. I really enjoyed my time. Thank you.